Eyes of Wakanda, the MCU's latest attempt at animation for focusing on Wakanda. But I mean, I watched all 4 episodes of this and it just did not add up to me at all. Let me go into this and maybe as I go along, you'll understand my resentment and the fact I'm not good. Because the first thing about it is I did not like the animation quality. In the first episode, the woman, I think his name was Noni, they gave her like this giraffe neck and the rest of the people didn't look too good. I mean, I understand you're drawing African people, but come on now, man. They don't have to look like that. You could it just wasn't looking good. The animation throughout was not fantastic in my opinion at all. But the most important question I had after watching Eyes of Wakanda is exactly who is it that this was made for? Because if this was made for people who are fans of Black Panther, you never see Black Panther in this. Towards the end, you get something, but I'll get to that a little later. But Black Panther, you never get to see Black Panther. And if it's just normies who are coming in to check it out, nothing in this really gets you invested in anything to do with the rest of Wakanda. Because even people who are hardcore comic book fans, the most famous person in all of Wakanda, when you think of Wakanda, is the Black Panther. That's who you're looking to see immediately once you hear anything to do with Wakanda. Nobody's not saying you can't do something with some other people, but you really need the Black Panther to pull it in. So if you want to do something, you could probably do like maybe a 12 episode something and probably like but squeezing 4 episodes in between, showing other people doing something fine. But the main draw is Black Panther and you don't get that. Now, you may think that, okay, the basis of the story is that it's basically about the war dogs and how they're a secret unit of Wakanda that has to go out, that goes out there and retrieves vibranium artifacts that have been either lost or stolen across the world or get it back. You may think that sounds interesting, but the way it comes off is very, very not good at all. Because when you get to the first episode, for instance, you have the same character talking about Noni, who is a former Dora Milaje, who was she was thrown out, I guess, because she couldn't work as a team. And apparently a former mentor, this person named Akia, wants to send her on this mission to go and capture a rogue member of the War Dogs who has basically stolen, he's some kind of general that he stole a bunch of Wakandan technology, and he's gone out into the open world, and he's calling himself the Lion, and he's created like this big pirate army called the Pride of the Lion, and all of this and stuff. And she goes there, she gets herself captured. But the thing about it is that they said that everybody who they sent before was killed because they were trained by him, so they send her in there. And this woman literally takes out like basically half an army by herself. No powers, no anything like that, just but she's just cutting through people, running. And I am like, okay, I get you're a former Dora Milaje, but if the Dora Milaje, and she's a former Dora Milaje, not an actual Dora Milaje, why didn't they just send one of them? Because if this one woman is taking out all these people, who did you send before that kept getting killed? It was really ridiculous. I mean, she just offing everybody. There are a bunch of other people that she ends up fighting and all of this. It's weird. It's really, really weird. I mean, she's taking out people there, like these other pirates and all this sort of stuff. And she's just going in there, taking people out, killing whoever. I mean, even the guy with it, he has like this woman who looks like some kind of, I don't know, crazy albino. She kills him. She pretty much kills his entire main pirate crew, and then goes off kill the rest of them. And then when she goes to have the big showdown with him and stuff, of course he tries to give her the whole, villain speech about how, oh, he just wants people to be free by enslaving them, and tries to get her to join. She doesn't. She ends up fighting him, killing him, injures one of her eyes and stuff. And then she comes back, and she goes back to Wakanda, and they give her the chance to join the Dora Milaje, but she decides that she wants to work with the War Dogs instead. And I mean, just going on that first episode alone, there's nothing to really draw you in. You're like, okay, if this is how this is going to be, I'm really not interested, because like I said, the art style doesn't look good. The story is somewhat nonsensical, because this person, this lion guy who stole this stuff and went out into the world with it and all kind of thing with it and all that. Then they're telling me that the people you sent after him, they were all getting killed. But this one woman went there, took out half an army, killed them and left, and we're really supposed to just say, okay, she doesn't have any powers or anything like that, she just does that. And then when you get to the second episode now, they basically make a mockery of the Trojan War, because basically what happens is that you have Achilles, and you have Odysseus with the Trojan War there. They try to infiltrate Troy. And in there is a member of the War Dogs who's calling himself Memnon, but is Bakai is his name, I believe, right? And he is fighting alongside Achilles and them to battle the Trojans and all of that, right? And he has been undercover for like 10 years, because apparently Helen of Troy has a pendant that has vibranium in it, and he needs to get that back. So he's joined up with Achilles and them to go in there, and they're friends and all that. Okay, but he has his mission and whatnot. Okay, so Odysseus ends up coming up with the plan for the Trojan horse. They bring the horse, the Trojans bring it inside the city, all that. They come out and all that thing like that. They get into a fight, and when you see the alarm gets raised, he runs off and leaves Achilles and them while they're fighting there, right? And then he goes there to where Paris and Helena Troy are looking to flee, and he gets the necklace, but he allows them to escape right as Achilles comes in. And Achilles accuses him of being a traitor, which basically he is. And he tries to make it, there's more going on here. They get into a fight and all this sort of stuff like that. And then he ends up stabbing Achilles in the heel and then ends up killing him. And it's like the most nonsensical nonsense you have seen, because I mean, apart from just bastardizing the Trojan War, the whole thing doesn't even make any kind of sense. Because had you just simply told Achilles and them that, listen, the pendant that Helen has belongs to your home country and you need to get that back, it's important, I don't think they would have had a problem helping you out at all. But you're basically on the offer for 10 years. Okay, it's one thing to infiltrate an enemy unit and you have to lie and kind of stuff like that, right? I get it. Wakanda is a hidden nation, all that, and the vibranium. You don't have to tell people everything, but you could tell them something, and then you could end up getting their help, get what you need, and all of that. No, you basically lie to these people, right? Who Achilles is your friend who trusted you and all that. You betray them, you kill him, and then after that you're acting like when he goes back home, he speaks to Noni, who's now older and stuff, and he's feeling all guilty and all kind of thing, and this and she tells him that it's okay to feel guilt. It's really ridiculous. You didn't need to do this. You had no reason to go out there, betray people, kill them, and all of this nonsense, because that's what you did. You are a traitor. You help these people for 10 years, infiltrated them. Okay, you infiltrated them to get back the artifact. All you had to do was just tell them, listen, I need to get back that artifact. No problem with it. You're good to go. I don't think they would have had a problem helping you, especially Achilles. He wouldn't have had a problem helping you. But you literally betrayed them and tried to act like, oh, well, I am this good reason for doing it because of, but I can't tell you. So she automatically looks to fight you. I want to look to fight you too because we just go through all this war, all this stuff. You understand me? You fight alongside me, bleed alongside me and my men, all of that. You understand me? And then when we fight it, you abandon us and go there to get back what is yours. When I come in, I see you letting the people who we are trying to take out, escape, and you're telling it, oh, you need this for this pen, this, all of that. What was I supposed to say? Okay, well, no problem. No problem there, brother. Take it and go. No, you freaking betrayed them. Of course he's gonna try and fix it. And then as I said, they bastardize what happens with the whole thing in Troy and in Brazil, he and just Achilles on the heel and then stabs him and kills him. It is absolute crap. It was really stupid. I'm there like, what's the point of this nonsense? But then we get to the third episode. And the thing about it is that this third episode, I actually liked. But not enough to say it was fantastic. It was basically the best out of the crap bunch, if I could put it that way. Because it basically talks about this Wakandan agent Basha, who has infiltrated basically Kunlun, right? To get a dragon statue that has a vibranium, is basically like a vibranium tongue of the dragon inside of it. So he can't get it out. So he takes the whole dragon. They catch him, he run off, he fight all kind of thing. But before he even, you see living, you see this woman lying down there sleeping and stuff and thing. He ends up escaping, sliding down mountain, all kind of thing, on it and the other. Jumping his ship and heads back to Wakanda, right? When he gets back there, as a lot of the other. In the hangar, a mysterious intruder comes out from the ship and starts to take out people and all kind of stuff like that. Okay, it turns out that the mysterious intruder is the Iron Fist. And it turns out to be the woman who he was, who had actually rescued him. I think her name was Jorani. Yeah, who had rescued him and stuff like that. I thought she basically, she figured he was up to something, but she wanted to see what he was going to do and all of that. And the little fight and stuff and moving around through Wakanda and all that was really interesting and stuff. And I kind of liked Basha's personality. I mean, you kind of sat up with him being like he was more interested in glory and that, and then he kind of have like a kind of growth. I should say a character growth and development throughout the movie, and then he kind of ends up the same way at the end. But I didn't dislike the character. But the thing about it is that, and I actually did not have a problem with female Iron Fist. I'll tell you why. Because the Iron Fist is passed down to different people over time who go and fight the dragon and they end up getting the Iron Fist. So okay, it has had female Iron Fist before. All right, I understand what they were doing, but I could look with that. I would have preferred seeing Danny Rand Iron Fist because the Netflix show didn't do him any justice and he really is a very cool character. So I would have liked to see that, but I do understand. I have no problem with that. But what she says justifies what I was saying about the second episode. Because when it is he tells her that, he needs, that the part inside of this dragon is important to his people, it's dangerous to the outside world and all that, the other. Okay, and after that little fight, one and the other and this and the other. She ends up removing the basically the tongue from the dragon, which has the vibranium in it, and gives it to him and basically tells him, you could have just asked or told us and I would have helped you. But you can't help it. Not everything you need to go in and steal from people. You could just talk to some people and they would be okay with it. That was all. That was all you really needed to do. You could just talk to people, let them know, listen, I need to get so and so, it's important. And most people would be okay with it. You could get it, but no. This whole thing about them going in to have to have to recover these artifacts. You're basically stealing from people when you don't even really need to do it. You don't. But I must say, like I said, the third episode was actually fun. I did like that episode. I thought that was the best out of the bunch. So no problem in regards to that. And even the way that Basha deals with the whole Jorani being in Wakanda and all kind of thing, how he hides her and how he kind of basically fixes everything to make it look like if it was the captain who had set up this kind of thing. But I find that part was fun. So I will give that okay. But then we get to the final episode now, where we have this prince, I think it's Prince Tafari, and this Kuda guy, and they're on a mission to retrieve a vibranium axe, right? They get the vibranium axe and stuff. The prince doesn't always listen, all normal typical stuff. They're heading back to Wakanda when all of a sudden this armored person appears and the transport crash. They end up fighting the person, and then the person reveals herself to be the queen of Wakanda and the last Black Panther from 500 years in the future. Yes, because of course we need to have a female Black Panther. And what she does is she shows them this vision of the future where Wakanda is in ruins because apparently this alien menace known as the Horde showed up, right, on Earth. And because Wakanda is isolationist, they didn't work with the rest of the other nations to help. And then by the time the other nations and stuff get wiped out and then the Horde end up coming to Wakanda, it was too late. They overrun everything. They couldn't stop this. They couldn't stop that. The people die, and she come back in that. So she was checking through time to see what's going on, and then she found out, the axe that they took is a pivotal moment in time, and they need to replace the axe in order to change the future and all of that. She ended up getting pulled back into the future. So these two go back and replace the axe there, right? And when they replace the axe now, we end up replacing the axe and one than the other. They end up saying that they hope that what they did really did change the future. Then you'll see years later, you'll see where Killmonger was in the London Museum, and he was watching the very said axe. Now here's why this episode makes no freaking sense. Here's why it makes no sense. Because basically it says that everything that they did for this month. So here's why it makes no sense. Remember in Avengers Infinity War, where they basically confirm that when it comes to time travel, nothing you do in the past affects the future. Right? Nothing you do in the past. Because remember, when they went back to get the Infinity Stones, right? They got them and they came back to the future. It didn't change anything. Because when their basic assumption is that, what happens in the past is already fixed. It's going to happen. So by doing that, it's not going to change the future. Which actually made no sense to me, but still. So by the very definition of what the MCU is, you've already confirmed that them going and didn't she coming back in time or anything didn't change a damn thing. Because it does not, and this is my problem when it comes to everything trying to make it like the MCU. And the thing is that if you go by the Wakandans just based off of the MCU, you would think that they're kind of jerks, kind of, because they have the vibranium, they don't want to make it okay. But this is why I always say they need to stop this push to make the MCU out to be the main Marvel universe. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Because when you look at, for instance, Wakanda via the comics or even the Black Panther miniseries that they did some years ago, the Marvel Knights thing, in regards to that, Wakanda is the only African nation in its history to never be conquered. But that doesn't mean people haven't tried. Throughout the years, people have attacked Wakanda relentlessly to try and conquer it, right? The fact that, is a big thing now with the whole vibranium in the MCU. There are countries and world leaders who knew that Wakanda was a technologically advanced nation that they had to, it was like, they knew that. And they would send people to try and infiltrate and take over and steal, right? The whole thing in the comics, how Black Panther's father died, was what happened in the MCU, the bombing and all kind of thing. He was assassinated because people wanted to get their technology, right? All of that stuff happened. So Wakanda has a reason why they are not out there sharing everything with the world, because they're smart enough to realize that, there are dangerous people out there who will abuse that technology for very nasty and wicked reasons, which is why they keep themselves hidden. It's the same thing like with the Inhumans, right? The Inhumans were humans who were experimented on by the Kree like millions of years ago, right? And they became very advanced. So even when humans were still, banging rocks and now inventing fire, they already had a fully functional city and all kinds of like that, right? And they hid themselves. Their city of Atalanta and even they hid themselves because they knew that by exposing their technology, their powers and everything to the outside world would be dangerous. It's the same thing with the Wakandans. They aren't doing it because they're a bunch of jerks who just don't want to help anybody, because that was kind of the reason what it is you see Killmonger was kind of alluding to all kind of shit is all this nonsense. But that's not what the whole thing in regards to Wakanda is. It's not to say that, they are out there and they don't want to help people. They would help when necessary, but they also understand that, letting themselves open themselves up to and giving out their technology to the world is dangerous. But you don't get that information based off of the MCU. So instead, you get this show, Eyes of Wakanda, about these war dogs who need to recover these artifacts, who go around stealing it from people. Like, okay, the first episode, you had this woman go through an entire army by herself. His second episode, you basically bastardize the entire Trojan War and show what an asshole this guy was. He's also a traitor and a murderer because he killed his friend, you understand me, for his nonsense. The third episode, I would say, actually was fun and interesting. I did like that episode. I didn't mind. The best part of it was seeing Iron Fist there. I did not have a problem with Iron Fist being a woman because, again, there have been Iron Fist throughout the years. We understand that. Yes, because they kind of pushing a kind of MCU logic. Then we get that. And then we come to the last episode where, of course, the Black Panther of the future must be a woman because they must push that. And then the whole thing about time travel actually doesn't work, because when you don't even take the time to study your own continuity that you have built, you realize this makes no sense. None. What you establish that in the movies and whatever you change in the past does not affect the future. So you traveling back there, my dear, did absolutely nothing other than this show. This entire show is a waste of time. My final rating for Eyes of Wakanda, I will give it a 2 out of 5, and that's only because I kind of enjoyed the episode with Iron Fist. That was it. But other than that, I don't recommend this series. The artwork is not good. The stories are kind of nonsensical. The Wakandas kind of come off like a bunch of jerks and a-holes. And then the whole thing about, time travel. Oh, wait, we already established in the movie that doing that doesn't actually affect a damn thing in the future. So what was the point? What was the point of this? I can say again, who was this really made for? I don't know. Maybe somebody could tell me. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.